The first light of dawn crept over the horizon. A rooster crowed, a familiar sound in the small village. Nestled amidst rolling hills, life was simple here. Children played in the dirt roads, their laughter echoing through the morning air. Women gathered at the well, sharing stories as they filled their clay pots. The scent of wood smoke hung in the air, a comforting aroma of breakfast being prepared. This village, although small and isolated, held a strong sense of community. Everyone knew everyone else. The sun climbed higher, casting its warm glow over the village. The village stirred with activity, ready to greet the day. If you enjoyed this glimpse into village life, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. But in one small hut at the edge of the village, there lived a boy named Arun. He was different. Arun was an orphan. His parents had succumbed to a cruel fever that had swept through the village a few years ago. He lived with his aging aunt, who struggled to make ends meet. Life was hard for young Arun.
I woke up early every morning, just as the sky began to lighten. I had chores to do, errands to run.
He helped his aunt with her work, fetching water from the well, collecting firewood and tending to their small vegetable patch. He yearned to join the other children playing in the dirt roads, but Arun knew he couldn't afford such luxuries. Despite his hardships, Arun was a bright and curious boy. He had an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, a burning desire to learn. He would spend his evenings listening intently to the village elders sharing stories of their ancestors. Little did he know his life was about to change. Life in the village was a symphony of shared existence. But for Arun, the sense of community was often tinged with a subtle, unspoken difference.
Poor Arun, they would murmur, their voices laced with pity.
Their words, though well-intentioned, stung him. Arun longed to be just another child in the village, to be accepted without the label of his orphanhood. Arun threw himself into his chores, finding solace in the rhythm of work. He fetched water from the well, his small shoulders straining under the weight of the clay pot. He collected firewood from the nearby forest, the air thick with the scent of pine needles and damp earth. He helped his aunt with her weaving, his nimble fingers learning to intertwine the threads into colorful patterns. But life was a constant struggle. Despite the hardships, Arun clung to a flicker of hope.
I would often sneak into the village schoolhouse, my eyes wide with wonder at the sight of children learning to read and write.
The teacher, a kind-hearted old man named Master Ram, noticed Arun's thirst for knowledge. He would often slip him old books, encouraging him to learn.
But my aunt, burdened by our poverty, couldn't understand my desire for education.
The monsoon season arrived with a vengeance that year. Rain lashed against the thatched roofs, the wind howling like a banshee. The river that flowed near the village swelled into a raging torrent.
One particularly fierce afternoon, as I struggled to secure our leaky roof, a figure emerged from the downpour.
He sought shelter in their humble hut, his eyes kind and weary. Arun's aunt, despite their limited means, welcomed him with warmth. The stranger, who introduced himself as Professor Vijay, was a scholar from the city.
He was captivated by my quiet intelligence and my thirst for learning.
Arun, usually shy and reserved, found himself opening up to Professor Vijay. The professor saw in Arun a spark of potential, a mind eager to be nurtured. As the storm raged outside, Professor Vijay shared his own stories with Arun.
I listened, my mind racing with excitement.
Professor Vijay's words were like seeds planted in fertile ground, taking root in his young mind. For the first time, Arun dared to believe that a different life was possible.
I saw the spark of hope ignite in Arun's eyes.
As the storm subsided, Professor Vijay prepared to leave.
Arun, you have a gift, a mind that is hungry for knowledge. Promise me you'll continue to learn, to read, to dream.
Arun stood at the edge of the village, watching as Professor Vijay disappeared into the distance. His heart pounded with a mix of excitement and trepidation. He clutched the book Professor Vijay had gifted him, its pages filled with stories of courage and determination. Arun's encounter with Professor Vijay had awakened a longing within him. He threw himself into his studies, devouring every book he could lay his hands on. His aunt, though skeptical, couldn't help but notice the change in him.
I have to keep going. I have to make something of myself.
But the reality of their situation was a constant weight on his shoulders. Weeks turned into months. The memory of Professor Vijay's visit lingered in Arun's mind. He continued his studies, devouring every book he could borrow. One evening, Arun made a decision.
Auntie, I need to talk to you. I have dreams, aspirations. I want a different life.
His aunt listened, her weathered face etched with a mixture of emotions.
Go, Arun, chase your dreams. Make me proud.
Tears welled up in Arun's eyes as he hugged his aunt tightly. He knew he was leaving behind the only home he had ever known. The next morning, with a small bundle of belongings, Arun bid farewell to his village and set out on a journey that would change his life forever. The city was a whirlwind of sights and sounds, a stark contrast to the quiet rhythms of his village. Towering buildings scraped the sky, dwarfing the humble huts he was used to. The air buzzed with activity, a cacophony of car horns, street vendors hawking their wares, and the chatter of countless people.
Overwhelmed by the sheer scale and energy of the city, I felt a pang of fear. I had left behind the familiar comfort of my village, my aunt's reassuring presence. Now I was alone, a small town boy adrift in a sea of unknown faces.
He spent his first few days in the city disoriented, unsure of where to go or what to do. He slept on the streets, his meager possessions clutched tightly to his chest. Hunger gnawed at his stomach, a constant reminder of his precarious situation. But even in the midst of his struggle, Arun refused to give up.
I clung to the memory of Professor Vijay's promise, the hope of a better life. I spent my days exploring the city, my eyes wide with wonder and apprehension. I discovered bustling marketplaces, overflowing with exotic fruits and vegetables I had never seen before. I stumbled upon grand libraries, their shelves stacked with books that promised to transport me to distant lands and times.
And then one day, as if guided by fate, he found it, the university. The university was a haven, a sanctuary of knowledge amidst the chaos of the city. Arun, with his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation, approached the imposing gates. He had no idea if Professor Vijay would remember him, if he would honor the promise he had made years ago.
I needn't have worried. Professor Vijay, now a respected scholar at the university, welcomed me with open arms. He had not forgotten the bright-eyed boy from the village, the spark of potential he had seen in me.
He arranged for Arun to stay at the university's dormitory and enrolled him in classes. Life at the university was challenging. Arun, used to the simple rhythms of village life, had to adjust to a rigorous academic schedule. He spent countless hours poring over books, his mind struggling to grasp new concepts.
There were times when I felt overwhelmed, tempted to give up and return to the familiar comfort of my village. But I persevered, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a desire to prove myself worthy of Professor Vijay's faith in me.
He excelled in his studies, his sharp mind absorbing information like a sponge. He made new friends, students from diverse backgrounds who shared his love for learning. Years passed in a blur of late-night study sessions, animated discussions with professors, and the thrill of discovering new worlds within the pages of books. Arun blossomed at the university. He excelled in his chosen field, his natural intelligence honed by hard work and a relentless pursuit of knowledge.
I watched with pride as Arun flourished. I had kept my promise, providing him with the opportunity to achieve his potential. I saw in him a reflection of my own youthful idealism, a belief in the power of education to transform lives.
Arun, in turn, was eternally grateful to Professor Vijay. He knew that without his guidance and support, he would never have escaped the cycle of poverty and hardship that had trapped generations of his family in the village.
I had come a long way from the shy, uncertain boy who had arrived in the city with nothing but a bundle of clothes and a heart full of dreams. I was no longer the orphan boy, defined by my past. I was Arun, the scholar, the thinker, the young man who had dared to dream of a different life and had the courage and determination to make it a reality.
Arun graduated from the university with top honors, his heart filled with a sense of accomplishment and gratitude.
I have achieved what once seemed impossible. This is a testament to the transformative power of education and the unwavering support of a mentor who believed in me.
But Arun's journey was far from over. He knew that his education was not just a personal triumph, but a responsibility, a way to give back to the community that had nurtured him.
I must return to my village. It's a mix of nostalgia and a determination to make a difference.
The villagers who had once whispered words of pity for the orphaned boy now greeted him with respect and admiration.
Arun, with the support of Professor Vijay and the knowledge he had gained, established a school in the village.
Every child, regardless of their circumstances, deserves the opportunity to learn, to dream, to break free from the shackles of poverty and ignorance.
The school thrived, a beacon of hope in the small village. It became a symbol of Arun's journey, a testament to the power of education to uplift not just individuals but entire communities.
His story resonated far and wide, inspiring countless others to dare to dream and to reach for the stars.
The city, with its towering structures and bustling streets, had become Arun's world. He had traded the quiet rhythms of village life for the relentless energy of the metropolis. But even as he embraced his new life, a part of him yearned for the familiar comfort of his village.
The city is amazing, but there's something about the village that I can't forget.
One evening, Arun received a letter from his aunt. She wrote of the changing seasons and simple village life. Beneath her words, Arun detected a longing for his return.
Auntie's letter. It feels like she's calling me back.
Arun's heart ached as he read and reread his aunt's letter. That night, Arun made a decision.
I need to go back, not just to visit, but to truly come home.
Arun's return to the village was met with joy and disbelief. The villagers who had watched him leave as a boy now welcomed back a confident young man.
It's so good to be back. I've missed this place more than I realized.
He visited his aunt, their reunion filled with tears and laughter.
Arun, my dear boy, you've come back.
Yes, Auntie, and I'm here to stay.
Arun threw himself into village life, blending his city education with his community's needs.
We can do this together. Let's build something that will help everyone.
With the support of the village elders and his aunt, Arun began to lay the foundation for a school. The schoolhouse, built with the collective effort of the villagers, stood as a testament to Arun's vision. It was a simple structure, its walls made of mud and brick, its roof thatched with palm leaves. But within its walls, a revolution was brewing, a quiet transformation that would ripple through generations.
This school is just the beginning. We're creating a future here.
Children, their faces bright with curiosity and excitement, filled the classrooms. They came from all walks of life, from humble farmers' huts to the homes of the village elders. Arun, drawing on his own experiences, created a curriculum that nurtured their minds and ignited their imaginations.
Education is the key. It will open doors you never knew existed.
He taught them about the world beyond their village, about the wonders of science and the power of storytelling. He instilled in them the importance of education, not just as a means to a better life, but as a key to unlocking their own potential. News of Arun's school spread, attracting attention from beyond the village. Donations poured in, books, supplies and funds that allowed Arun to expand his vision. The school, once a dream, became a beacon of hope, a symbol of what could be achieved when one person dared to dream big and a community came together to support that dream. Years later, Arun stood before a graduating class of students, their faces shining with pride and anticipation. The schoolyard, once a dusty patch of land, was now a vibrant space filled with the laughter of children and the rustling of leaves from the trees they had planted. He looked at the students, their futures stretching before them like a vast, uncharted sea, and he saw a reflection of his own journey.
You've all worked so hard. Your futures are bright, and they are yours to shape.
They were no longer defined by the limitations of their circumstances. They were dreamers, thinkers, change-makers, empowered by the gift of education. Arun, the orphan boy who had once felt lost and alone, had found his purpose. He had climbed mountains, not for personal glory, but to shine a light on a path that others could follow.
Remember, it's not just about where you come from, but where you're going.
His story, a testament to the transformative power of education, became a beacon of hope, inspiring countless others to dare to dream and to reach for the stars. The boy who had once yearned for a world beyond his village had, in turn, expanded the universe of possibilities for his entire community. And in doing so, he had discovered the true meaning of success, not in accolades or material wealth, but in the enduring legacy of hope and empowerment he had created.